And this one, from my perspective, is simple. How does CeeDee Lamb's contract affect Brandon Aiyuk, who's holding in and waiting for his deal? Jamar Chase, who's kind of holding in, but the hold-in ended over the weekend because he started practicing. His deal is presumably coming. I think it doesn't affect either of them because he didn't set a new bar. The bar is still the bar. I think the expectations are the same. I don't think anything about CeeDee Lamb's contract drives the number up. It might strengthen their resolve, but I don't think it changes the numbers for anybody.
Yeah, I don't either. I think Jamar Chase, if he gets another year and Cincinnati doesn't pay him, if I'm Jamar Chase, my number needs to be above everybody else's. If I'm him, that's the mindset I'm going to have. But I think at this point, for a deal to get done for like a Brandon Aiyuk, I don't see the 49ers saying we're going above Jefferson. Now, I think the thing that'll be interesting is where does the 49ers think Brandon Aiyuk fits in with now CeeDee Lamb? And is it important enough to draw a line in the sand and say you have to be under CeeDee Lamb? And I think I wonder for Brandon Aiyuk and these guys, like, you sit out for this long, and I know Chase went back. Is it important for you to say, I'm only under Justin Jefferson, even though these things change in a few months anyway? I think that's now the small, minute thing that we have to figure out of who decides to draw that line in the sand and says, I need to be above, or does a team say you need to be under? I think Justin Jefferson is the guy that I think for teams, as long as you're under Justin Jefferson, I think they feel comfortable. But I just wonder if players are like, I'm okay being under CeeDee Lamb, or I need to be above CeeDee Lamb for these two guys.
The one argument that I think it'll strengthen for Brandon Aiyuk relates to his targets. CeeDee had 181. Aiyuk had 105. And he still had nearly 1,400 receiving yards. He was second in the league in yards per target. So he made the most out of every ball that was thrown his way. And I don't know that extrapolates to him having 2,500 yards if he would have 180 targets. But, he's a guy who I think has a feeling of untapped potential. But we were talking about this a little bit over the weekend. This idea that, the 49ers know him better than anyone, and something is holding them back. But you got all these other teams that don't know him at all that are throwing all this money at him that the 49ers aren't willing to spend. There's a disconnect there that just makes you wonder. I don't think he's playing for $14.1 million this year. They got to do something. But there's something weird there where these teams that don't know him are willing to pay him a lot more than the team that does know him.
And I would even take it another step further of how much does he really want to leave? Like, as a player, if you're unhappy with your contract, it's really hard to tell your team, hey, there's two places I want to go. Like, when you do that, the team loses all leverage in any other negotiations. And just being up there and being around New England, the feeling I got was they went all in. Like, they wanted to get this deal done. They had the trade ready. The only thing left was a negotiated deal with Brandon Aiyuk. And the feeling that I got from talking to those guys was Brandon Aiyuk wasn't interested. And I know for like the fan base in New England, that area, they always blame the Kraft group for not wanting to give more money. That didn't seem like the case. The money seemed like it was there, but it was Aiyuk basically sitting there saying like, hey, I'm pretty good where I'm at. Like, I had less targets than other guys, but we have so many different weapons that when I get the ball in my hands, I can get more yards. I have more one-on-one opportunities. I only want to leave if I get to go play with my buddy Jaden Daniels, or I get to go to Pittsburgh, from what I heard, where it's like, all right, if both of those teams say, hey, like, we don't want to pay the guy that amount of money, so we're out, then I think he's cool with being there. And it seems like now it's, what are those terms that's going to get us there? But as a player, when you don't want to be somewhere, you usually want to be where the guy with the check is standing there saying, here's the money that we're willing to pay you. It's big money, because it seems he would have been second behind Justin Jefferson before this CeeDee Lamb contract got signed. So I think he wants to be there, he kind of wants to leave, but he only wants to leave for the perfect situation. As we spoke about earlier, players in the league don't usually get that kind of opportunity to be exactly where they want to be.
Hey, and Devin, it's getting to be too late to go to another team and have any impact whatsoever, to have a plug-and-play guy at the receiver position and turn things around and get yourself in a position where you're making the most out of your targets. New coach, new playbook, new everything, and we're less than 2 weeks away from the start of the season. I think for both the 49ers and for the Bengals. It's a question of when do we make our last move? And it's going to be between now and I'd say Monday. You make your last move, and they either take it or they don't, and there's a good chance both guys do, unless Chase decides I'll kick the can for a year, but he's only making $4.8 million this year. That's the problem. But I think there's a chance both guys are going to be done by the time we head to Kansas City. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.